Interesting turn of events that's happening, and I'm reaching out and I'm trying to get him on the air. Blake Masters, Senate candidate, and Blake Masters was one of the candidates in the Republican primary and in the race that didn't run away and say election, and he didn't talk about the election integrity, he didn't talk about stolen election. He just kind of disappeared. I haven't had a conversation with him since his failed run, but he said that we're hearing that he's going to get back in the race. The reason why I think a lot of this is important is Americans are saying that we are seeing our leaders that we elect are much too old. What's crazy about that is we keep electing them. Mitch McConnell had another event where he froze up and it was hard for him to speak. And people are saying he can't work full time anymore. And I mean, this is the leader in the Senate for the Republicans. There should be concerned about this. So again, this isn't a partisan attack, and I'm not attacking anybody. I'm making an acknowledgement. Michael Jordan got too old to play NBA basketball. He was the best in his prime. There was a time when he walked away from the game. If you're a sports fan, we all remember Barry Sanders being probably, if not the greatest at the time, one of the greatest running backs of all time. He left in his prime. He walked away from the game when he still had a lot of gas in the tank. But we've seen other people that play until their absolute last minute. Tom Brady finally resigned or retired. There comes a point in everybody's career. Now, with professional athletes, obviously it's much younger when you're not at your peak, but you're still able to compete. We are watching people that are deteriorating, and it's a problem, and it's sad. And I don't want to see Mitch McConnell go through what he's going through. I certainly don't want him to have to go through it publicly. Dianne Feinstein has lost her faculties as well. Nancy Pelosi's no spring chicken. Joe Biden and the questions about his age. And to be fair, there are questions about Donald Trump's age as well. But if you look at the two of them side by side, you know, it looks as if Joe Biden struggles at times. And is it the rigors of the job? Is it the 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job? Even when you're not there, you're there. And I don't know the answer to that completely, but I know that the American people continue to say, we need new people. We need younger people in there. But how does a younger person make their way in? Now, in the Senate race here, it's not fair because Senator Sinema is young. She is certainly a young, in the prime of her life person. So the age thing isn't appropriate in this Senate race. But overall, are we looking at people that are qualified? I've talked about leadership. I've talked about training leadership. And here's the issue for me. I didn't agree with Senator Sinema on anything when she was first in politics in Arizona. And her pathway to what she's become as a senator is much different. But she walked the pathway. Senator Sinema started out in the Arizona State Legislature. She worked her way up through the ranks there. She earned a House seat, served in the House. Then she ran for the Senate seat. There was a bit of growth there. Whether you like her politics or you don't, that was the pathway she took. We know we have people that jump into races. Donald Trump's the biggest example of someone that's never held public office and then wins the presidency. What an anomaly that is. The problem I have with this is we do want younger people, but we don't have younger people seem to be just coming out of nowhere and jumping in. And it's one of the things I'd like to talk to Blake Masters about is the lack of experience. Is that a good thing? Because in some people's minds, it's fantastic. The House of Representatives, and the way I view Washington, D.C. may be different than the way you view it, but the separation of powers, even within the legislative branch, when you look at how it's been designed with the House of Representatives being called the People's House, small districts, I believe it's supposed to look like it does. And I'm not talking about age. I mean the bar scene from Star Wars. It's supposed to be a little bit odd. It's supposed to be different. But they go there to represent very small districts the way it was supposed to be designed. You represent like-minded people in an area, and you vote the way they want you to vote inside the House of Representatives. It is a simple majority in there. The one-seat majority controls that chamber. The Senate, every state, no matter how big or small that state is represented equally. And those senators do the jobs and the businesses of the states. Equal power for every state in the union. It doesn't matter what your population is. I think that's a fantastic balance of power. But what are we doing about leadership here locally in the state of Arizona? The process, and I mentioned this group before, and I think it's worth looking into, especially if you're a young woman that's looking to learn something about the political world. There is the Doty London training. It is fantastic. It gives you an opportunity to see everything in the political world about running a campaign, about being involved in a campaign, working in politics, working in these different areas, business leaders and industry leaders, whether they are in PR or lobbying or elected to office, you get them and they come in and they speak, and it is a real rigorous training for the people that want to learn how to do this. But there aren't a lot of those out there. Nationally, there's the Leadership Institute. They're doing basically the same thing. Are we doing a good job of introducing people into this world? And that's where I think we are slipping in both parties, where we are seeing that people are holding on to power far too long. It isn't just in elected offices in the legislature. Go look at whichever party you are with, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Go and look at party leadership and look at how long they've been around and look at how old they are. And it isn't just about age. It also has to do with new blood and new ideas and fresh thought. And a lot of these groups don't want that. They want their same little room of people, sit at the same table at every meeting. We do the same thing every Christmas. We do the same thing every New Year's Eve. And this is the way we like it. And I don't know if it's healthy.